All right, guys, welcome to Real Truth. I am Howard Riell, and Obamacare lives on. That's the bad news for today from the Associated Press. Senate Republicans, short of votes, abandoned their latest and possibly final attempt to kill a health care law Tuesday, just ahead of a critical end-of-the-week deadline. The repeal and replace bill's authors promised to try again at a later date, while President Donald Trump railed against, quote, certain so-called Republicans, unquote, who opposed the GOP effort. But for now, Trump and fellow Republicans who vowed for 7 years to abolish President Barack Obama's law will leave it standing and turn their attention to overhauling the nation's tax code instead, unquote. My friends, remember when people used to say, what's wrong with Barack Obama? How could he be so stupid? And I came on the air and I said, Barack Obama's not stupid. Stupid is the last thing he is. Obama has a certain mission. It doesn't coincide with the mission of America. Well, it's the same thing with Congress. People in Congress aren't stupid. It's not that they don't know how to get things passed. It's that they don't want to pass a repeal and replace of Obamacare, because Obamacare puts health care that's 1/6 of our economy in the government's hands. And the Republican and Democrat wings of the big government party don't want it. And so they're not going to vote for it, and they're going to try and see to it that we don't get it now. Donald Trump can do a hell of a lot as president, but he can't legislate. That needs to happen in Congress, and Congress is the adversary of the American people. So what hope is there? Well, maybe the election of Judge Roy Moore in Alabama a couple of days ago, maybe that will scare these cocky bastards in Congress into thinking that, you know what, maybe we should listen to the American people, otherwise we're liable to find ourselves on the outside looking. And don't forget, Luther Strange, who was Judge Moore's opponent, who was backed by Donald Trump, had gotten $30 million from the swamp, from Mitch McConnell and his cronies. Now it makes me wonder whether the president hasn't been co-opted with bad advice who told him to support Strange. But the fact of the matter is, the swamp exists on the left and the right, and it won't be vanquished so easily. It won't go without a fight. Obamacare needs to be repealed and replaced. Congress won't act. So what do? We replace those congressmen who won't act with some who will. Republican congressmen who will take action, who do care about the American people, who aren't fat cats with an entrenched bureaucracy to support them. All right, we're going to take a break and we'll be back, my friends. It's Wednesday on Real Truth. Stick around. They've got the volume on the radio station turned down real low, and so I can't even hardly hear the music, which is my intro or my exit. So I'm going to have to lean into the phone and hear exactly when I'm on. The perils of mass media, what can I tell you? All right, guys, I think I'm back on the air. This is Howard Riell. The show is called Real Truth, Never a Dull Moment. As long as I was referencing the election in Alabama for the Jeff Sessions seat, and Judge Roy Moore will now challenge a Democrat in several weeks for that Senate seat. Here is Ann Coulter, one of my favorite people and yours, weighing in on the Mark Simone Show about the election results. All right, guys, I'm going to stop it there because we're about to hit a hard break. I know you want to hear more Ann Coulter. Go to AnnCoulter.com. Go to YouTube and just type in her name. Item from CNSNews.com. The federal government collected record total tax revenues through the first 11 months of fiscal 2017, according to the monthly Treasury statement. Through August, the federal government collected approximately $2.9 trillion in total taxes. And yet, ask the Democrats. We need to raise taxes because we can't afford what we need. Wonderful. We'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Howard Riell, Real Truth. It's really hard to hear the music coming up, but I heard it. And that's what's important. Last night, Fox News, Sean Hannity had a special guest, Bill O'Reilly, returning to Fox for the first time since his firing. What they had to say was explosive. Let's listen in. My friends, I'm going to stop there because once again, we're about to hit a commercial break. When I come back, you know what? Maybe I'll go back to Hannity and O'Reilly. Because what they're going to say in the second half of this video is so important. I want you to hear it. We'll be right back.
Right out saying, "This is the key of my bed. He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. In order to perform a full provide for the common defense, promote the physical welfare, and secure the public of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. You ordain the Sabbath
All right, guys, if you haven't read Ann Coulter's book, Demonic, then you can't possibly make sense of what we're seeing coming from the Democrats, from the liberals. This whole NFL thing, part of it is the players just wanting to be cool, but that fits into a mob mentality. They want to run with the mob. They want to be part of the mob, of the majority. So what do we make of mob mentality? Well, I've never seen mob mentality defined any better than Ann Coulter in her book Demonic. Here's what she writes in chapter 1. The demon is a mob, and the mob is demonic. It is the nihilistic mob of the French Revolution. It's the revolutionaries who seized control of Russia at the beginning of the 20th century. It's the Maoist gangs looting villages and impaling babies in China. It's the Ku Klux Klan terrorizing Republicans and blacks in the South. It's the 1992 Los Angeles riot that left 50 dead and did $1 billion of damage after the first Rodney King verdict. It's the bloody riots at the 1968 Democrat National Convention. It's the masked hoodlums smashing up Seattle when bankers came to town. It's the 500,000 illegal aliens marching under a foreign flag in Los Angeles. It is throngs of Islamic fanatics attending the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's funeral, tearing his body out of its coffin. It is left-wing protesters destroying property and attacking delegates of the Republican National Conventions. Everything else changes, but mobs are always the same. A mob is an irrational, childlike, often violent organism that derives its energy from the group. Intoxicated by messianic goals, the promise of instant gratification, and adrenaline-pumping exhortations, mobs create mayhem, chaos, and destruction, leaving a smoldering heap of wreckage for their leaders to climb to power. Unquote. That's what's happening on the left. That's what's happening on the sidelines at NFL games. That said, back to Hannity and O'Reilly from last night.
Arizona is no doubt about it.
Abusing by it. Do you heard the conspiracy?
I'm going to let you guess about what that is, my friends. You're going to go to my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio. I will post this video there on the commercial. Watch it, share it, discuss it, learn from it. That's all the things that I did. And we need to be learning always. Item from the AP. President Donald Trump, he says he's always wanted to reduce the corporate tax rate to 20%, even though he said repeatedly he wanted to see it lowered to 15%. Unquote. My friends, the problem is Trump is not a king. He's the president. He can't do a thing without the political hacks in Congress. He wanted 15%. Realistically, he'll be lucky if he gets 20%. Okay, there's the music. We'll take a break and we'll come back for the last quarter of the show, my friends. Stay tuned. More Real Truth ahead.
It had to happen. Kind of like legalized marijuana. Most people thought 3 years ago. Dispensaries also did legalize in January 2014. They did what our doing in 4565 Gifford Street, 1.5 blocks outside of there were 3,000 cars that had from the Gifford Street. We changed the name of our retail store. We didn't sell. But we kept the name of our green earth stuff. So we stuck to our new locations. The brand name we didn't sell. Our call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the best next show every Tuesday. John, don't fight. He confessed and did not deny the confession. I am not the Messiah. And they asked him one thing, are you Elijah? He said, I am not. Are you a prophet? And he answered, the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19.
Okay, I think I'm back. It's awfully hard for me to hear the music, but I am back. Steve Bannon has been out in the media. He was on 60 Minutes. He was on Fox News the other day with Sean Hannity. Here he is at the Judge Roy Moore rally before the election, which, of course, Moore won. But what Bannon has to say is important. Aside from the election itself, it's important to know what's happening in America and why. Here's Steve Bannon from Breitbart.
The world's media here today, like Michael said, why are they here? Why the Financial Times in London, the BBC, NHK, you know why? Because tomorrow is going to decide who has sovereignty in the United States of America. The elites in Washington, D.C. with their money, or is it the people out of power with their power? It's the power and this power for the folks are very good. They know the price of everything, but the value of nothing. And let me give you the value of text. Here's the strength, the starting balance. They weighed and measured with the strings. At the end of the day, it was $30 million that counted. He sits there and treats you like a bunch of fools. He says, I'm going to Washington, D.C. to stand up to Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell earned him lock, stock, and barrel. Yes. Why Sarah Palin and Phil Robinson and Michael Jazz and Michael Hall and Martin Meadows and Dr. Savage. I could go on and on. Michael Ingram.
Howard Riell also, by the way.
The people who support Judge Moore and not the candidate that Donald Trump had done. That takes a moment of church. Remember, all the people I named are not some kind of patriots. They've been with Donald Trump from the beginning. These are the hardest core values of Donald Trump, and they're good at. I'm here as a private citizen today, not a CEO of the campaign. I've been running this jacket since we're in the campaign. I came here not shaven. It was her private campaign. I thought it was in the campaign. All the folks that I talked about are the hardest core supporters of Donald Trump, and I apologize to people in the church meeting. It's like they're rough on him, but we did not come here to define Donald Trump. We came here to praise and honor him.
Well, I know the name Shakespeare. I think Plutarch played shortstop for the Tigers. I'm just kidding. We're about to get another break. Let's sneak in some news. Here we go. I'm going to start this now. I'm going to finish it when we come back from the Economic Collapse blog. Does the NFL actually think it can go to war with the national anthem and the American flag and win? Many are trying to frame this controversy as a protest against Trump, but the truth is that owners, coaches, and players can speak out against President Trump anytime they want. They have huge platforms in the mainstream media that will soak up every word. So there's absolutely no need to take a knee when our national anthem is being played and the American flag is being honored. As I explained a couple of days ago, the national anthem and the American flag are symbols that represent the entire country. When someone disrespects those symbols, they're disrespecting our great land, everyone who lives here, and everyone who ever fought, bled, and died for America. My friends, we'll take a break and we'll wrap things up here on Real Truth. Don't touch that dial. 4 minutes left, my friends. Let's do this. Item from Boston.com. Former First Lady Michelle Obama criticized women who voted for President Donald Trump during a wide-ranging conversation in Boston on Wednesday that addressed life in the White House, her forthcoming book, and the challenges of discrimination that women face together. Quote, any woman who voted against Hillary Clinton voted against their own voice. Obama, stop. Michelle Obama is supposed to be an educated woman. What about English grammar? Any woman, singular, who voted against Hillary Clinton voted against their, plural, own voice. Now, if you're out there thinking Michelle Obama must be dumb as a rock, well, you're right. She is. As far as what she says, I have no interest in it whatsoever. Item from Agence France Presse. Sexually transmitted diseases surged to a record high in the United States last year, with more than 2 million cases of chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis nationwide, officials said on Tuesday. This was the highest number ever, said the annual Sexually Transmitted Disease Surveillance Report released today by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Most of the new cases, 1.6 million in 2016, involved chlamydia, a bacterial infection that affects both men and women. Gonorrhea also increased among men and women last year, but the steepest rise was among men, 22%, according to the report. Nationwide gonorrhea cases reached 470,000, with a large share of new gonorrhea cases among men who have sex with men. I hasten to reiterate, my friends, these are new cases, not existing pre-existing cases. So just keep doing whatever you feel like doing. Item from the Washington Examiner. The swelling population of illegal immigrants and their kids is costing American taxpayers $135 billion a year, the highest ever, driven by free medical care, education, and a huge law enforcement bill, according to the most authoritative report on the issue yet. And despite claims from pro-illegal immigration advocates that the aliens pay significant offsetting taxes back to the federal, state, and local treasuries, the Federation for American Immigration Reform report tallied only $19 billion, making the final hit to taxpayers about $116 billion. Item from the New York Post. A Bronx student stabbed a classmate to death with a switchblade and seriously injured another inside their high school Wednesday morning. The cops are investigating if bullying was a motive. Investigators believe Abel Cedeno, 18, plunged the tool into a 15 and 16-year-old around 10:50 a.m. on the 5th floor of the Urban Assembly School for Wildlife Conservation. Unquote. My friends, these kids are tree huggers, and they're knifing themselves to death. Item from the New York Daily News. On a sultry July night in 2014, an ambulance crew brought Angel Rivera to Lincoln Hospital in the Bronx after the handyman got punched in the head. Rivera slipped into a coma and wound up dead due to negligence, a lawsuit charges. Startling hospital security video obtained by the Daily News shows Lincoln's emergency room staff left Rivera unattended for 9 hours, failing to monitor his condition until a nurse noticed him slumped unconscious and bleeding from the mouth in a hallway chair. Bleeding of the brain had plunged the 53-year-old Rivera into a coma. He would remain comatose for 2 years before dying of a heart attack. My friends, I don't know what to tell you other than the fact that it's Wednesday and I'll be back tomorrow with more real truth. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay angry.